And hello everybody, welcome back to the video. Today we're playing Glenwood Parkour. This is supposed to be kind of like a more atmospheric parkour map, with nice looking backdrops and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna just play normal on all of these. I'm not gonna use any of the modifiers, I don't think. Modifiers for parkour aren't really my thing, which I've made more than clear in the past. I don't know why I jumped that way. Oh, I restarted the time since I didn't hit a checkpoint. Interesting. I don't know how long these maps are going to be. I take it based off of the amount of effort put into the backdrop that there probably won't be all that much parkour. It'll probably be a shorter parkour map and a little bit easier as well. But look at that background. Looks so good. I really like fancy backgrounds and stuff in parkour. It's just pleasant to look at, and makes the whole deal really nice. Although there's only one checkpoint for this, so depending on how long this first level is, this might end up being a little bit more difficult, just based off the fact that there's no checkpoint, so any small mistake can completely reset you. Although after the map we played yesterday, the Getting Over It styled map, I'm not exactly too nervous about no checkpoints. They don't really scare me off. Doesn't sound too difficult to me to just not have checkpoints. But yeah. Oh, I love how the background looks. I really like how they managed to mix the planks into the trees and stuff. It really works on the super large trees. It doesn't work if you're making medium-sized trees for the most part. I think it's kind of when people put planks onto normal-sized trees and stuff. But for these really large trees, made out of like the terracotta and planks, works really well. Also, we were 2 seconds from gold, so I'm gonna just run through that again and not pause for a couple seconds to stare at the scenery and see if we can make it through with a gold. I don't really care that much about the times and the rankings and stuff like that, but I do care enough that I'm more than willing to run through it again, so we shall see. But yeah. Where are we at? Okay, 35 seconds, and we're just about at the end. This should be pretty simple. And yeah, we're gonna make it. Plenty of time. A little bit of time to spare, too. Let's go. Alright, let's go back to the lobby. There's the first one, and now we're on to the second. How would blindness work for these? Because doesn't blindness prevent you from sprinting? So unless they did something about that, then it's not exactly going to work so well. I wonder if all the levels are going to be kind of the more orangish savanna type theme. I don't know. We'll see. I don't mind it. It's just not my favorite biome in Minecraft. Savanna biome. I find that there's a lot of just nicer looking biomes in the game that are good for stuff like this. Although I also like a kind of rich green color. So the bit more like dead green color that you get for this sort of environment just doesn't appeal to me as much. I just strongly prefer, actually, a little more like the green that's on the trees on the side. But, yeah. I do kind of like the whole everything growing out of the water. You know, kind of like the drip leaves, but with no, obviously mechanic of dying on them if you don't move fast enough. Alright. I don't know, did we make it in time? Yep, we did. Look at that. Like, this isn't the best looking map I've ever seen, but it's definitely a nice view. There's a lot of maps, though, that are really nice looking that I don't take the time to appreciate. Oh, this is like floating islands. Interesting. Because a lot of map creators do put a lot of time into how the background and stuff looks. And I don't know. I just feel like I could spend a bit more time appreciating it than I typically do. Oh, this one actually has checkpoints. Interesting. I'm guessing it's probably just because it's drip leaf, so they're like, well, let's add in some checkpoints so that, you know, it's not too difficult. Also, it looks like this one's going to be a bit more along the lines of like a minute 20 rather than 30 to 50 seconds like the other two. So I guess it makes sense that they'd incorporate checkpoints into a longer level. Although I also did fail there, so that's going to increase my time by quite a bit. That's the one thing about speedrunning stuff, is if you ever want to speedrun anything, which I kind of want to restart the level now that my time's getting up there, but I'm not going to. But if you ever want to speedrun anything, the first step's to be able to flawless it. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is. There's some things where it's so difficult that you're not going to flawless it, or it's so long that you're not going to flawless it, period, in the story. But you want to hit a point where you're capable of flawlessing every section of the level, so that way when you do, if you do make a fail at some point, it doesn't weigh you down as much. Because you get a lot of maps and games where for speedrunning, the, you know, top 10 runs or whatever, it's legit just a matter of they didn't fail once. Wow, even with all those fails, I almost got... Do I try it again? We're going to try it again. This is going to be a shorter map anyway, so I have time to try it again. But, like... Yeah, it's... there's some maps that are... Oh, pretty heavily RNG related. Some that are, you know, this or that. But when it comes to skill elements, if you want to speedrun anything, you just have to be capable of it all. And yeah, I feel like heavy RNG elements are actually good for speedrunning. I don't like doing speedruns of stuff with heavy RNG elements, but like, think about Minecraft, for example. The speedrunning community hated that speedrunning became so RNG based. But despite that, it was the peak of the growth of the speedrunning community was during a time frame where it was super RNG based. And during the time frame where it wasn't nearly as RNG based, obviously it was still plenty of RNG, but, you know, much less heavily. They saw much less growth as a community, and then when it got super heavily RNG based, the community itself saw a really large growth. Which, you know, there's other factors involved, obviously, but still, it doesn't change the fact that, you know, the RNG came in and the community grew because of it. I think that having the RNG in speedrunning makes it... Well, it makes it so you have to do more runs overall to get the RNG correctly, and it makes mistakes on runs where the RNG isn't in your favor much more costly. Because then you're going to have to do a bunch more runs to get the proper RNG, and just stuff like that, where it's just not... It's not pleasant to do, in my opinion, but it's good for being able to do long live streams of speedruns, for having to spend longer on them. I'm not... if I fall once more, I'm not going to make it. If I fall once more, we're going to just return to the lobby, because I'm not going to get the gold regardless if I fall there. I'd have to restart again, and I want to move on to the next ones. But, yeah. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird situation where annoying for the community, but useful for community growth. At least that's how I look at it. Because a lot of people like RNG stuff. They like that randomness factor. And, you know, it provides something for them, which is good. It works out. But yeah. Just not my style so much. I prefer things that are pretty heavily skill-based, even if I'm bad at them many times. But I'd rather have something that's within my control to improve at and do better myself than something that there's a random number generator behind in some way. And I keep falling on those sideways jumps. Such a rip. I don't know what it is, but just I hate having to rely on something outside of my control, if you know what I mean. Which probably isn't always the best way to look at things, but you know, it's just how it is. Okay. Whew. Finally, I actually made it there. Although, there's still a lot of parkour to go. I still have plenty of time to... I landed on this line. I don't know what you're on about, game. I landed on this line. As I was saying, plenty of time to still mess it up. I don't really like this atmosphere as much. It feels more just like a default mesa biome with a bit done underneath. I get that it's not, especially if you look around more closely. And, you know, you got all the large trees and... The generation's clearly custom made, but it's made in a way where it looks a lot like the default mesa biomes. And as already mentioned, I don't really like the orange and kind of depressing colors for a backdrop. I prefer more natural looking green and stuff like that. Oh my goodness, I keep falling on this. Hey, once again, at least it's not like the getting over it map where it took me like 4 minutes to complete a single jump. That was so painful. Which, I still don't know if we're going to come back to it or not. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. I might make another video on it tomorrow if I'm feeling up for it, but who knows. It's an experience, to say the least. And one that it's a good experience. It's just I already know based off of where I ended off that it makes something painful. Alright, I should probably stop talking about other videos and focus on the map at hand, you know? I don't know what else there's. Is that all part of the parkour up there? There's no checkpoints on this. What? That's all part of the parkour. Huh. There's really no checkpoints on this map, huh? Or on this level. I'm in trouble. Just because I keep struggling so much with these over here. Alright, let's take this a little bit slower. Just for that bit there. Alright. As long as I take it a little slower for some of these, it's not so much of a problem. Oh, there's a checkpoint. Okay. The other maps had said checkpoint 0 out of 1, but there wasn't actually a checkpoint on them, so I just presumed it was going to be the same on this map. Or level. I keep saying map. It just, I don't know. For whatever reason, it gives off the feel of multiple. Why is there another checkpoint? What? I get the feeling some things were a little scuffed during the creation of this map. Watch there be another checkpoint. Oh. Alright, if you say so, map. That was a little scuffed. Alright. Okay, I actually made that jump. Okay, I'm focusing too much on the gameplay, not enough on commentary. That's one of the results of me having been a little bit out of the YouTube game. 135. Man, if it weren't for that ball. Is, for stuff like this, I don't know, I just end up a bit out of it, and it takes me a bit to get back into it, if you know what I mean. And it was one thing when I was out of it because I was streaming instead of recording a lot, which had been the case the last couple times I had taken a break from recording. But I've been busy with school and other stuff in esports, and yeah, so as a result, just haven't really been keeping up with it, which, you know, is what it is. Oh, there we go. Like, I don't know, I really enjoy recording, but I've just been focusing a bit more on the esports side of things, and just, you know, not been focusing as much on recording when it comes to gaming. And I don't know, I want to get back into focusing pretty heavily on recording as well, just kind of doing both. I think it's much better for me to stay a little bit busier, and it's not like I don't have the time. Like, I've had a time where I'm basically doing nothing but twiddling my thumbs for, you know, at least half an hour most every day, where I could easily be recording during that time frame. Once again, just kind of been out of it a little bit, which, you know, I'm hoping to get back into it. We'll see. But it's one of those things where I know that I don't, like, the time I spend on video creation is just the recording and stuff. I don't really edit or anything like that, and that's part of why I do the content I do, is because I'm able to do it that way, which I greatly appreciate. Those of you that, you know, watch my content and my insanity. But yeah, so, like, I definitely am able to. I just have to strap in and actually do it, is the thing. Whew. Which I know I'm capable of. I just, you know, once again, gotta actually do it. And I keep over jumping this, man. Whew. That's a really close jump. I'm surprised, given everything else that's in this map, that some of the jumps on this level have been as far out as they are. But oh well. And that's level 145. Man, that's the only one I didn't land silver on. Maybe we go one more time. I'm gonna give it one more attempt. If we get over 125, though, I'll just call it for this one. But it bothers me that we didn't at least land in silver. I always say that I don't care about the times and stuff like that, but then whenever I actually see the times at the end, there's a large part of me that gets competitive and wants to go get a higher grade on it whenever, you know, like, the map creator puts a attached score, like gold, silver, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm able to not care about it whenever I'm not actually in the midst of, to not care about it when I'm in the midst of the run. It's just once I hit the end that I'm like, oh, now I want to do it again. I get all competitive. Which is kind of how I am in a lot of things. Like, I can manage to stay completely not competitive, and then once the actual scores come up, I start getting competitive, and then if it's done again, then I end up wanting to have a better score or whatnot. So maybe it's better to say that on my first time through, I'm able to not be competitive and just kind of go about it. But oh well. Whatever it is what it is. Alright, I'm gonna just end it off. That's probably, you know, enough just jumping off for now for me. Oh, right, there's one more. The lobby parkour. But yeah, guys, I hope you're enjoying. Thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one. God bless. Bye-bye.